Hi, this is CK at CK Education, and today I want to talk about the number one most important skill that a teacher must possess. It may not be what you think. Um, I started teaching when I was pretty young, and so I've been teaching for well over 25 years. And it's just in the last 11 or 12 years that I've been doing this full time, teaching high school kids and with college prep and SAT and things like that. But even before that, I grew up in Seattle and I did a lot of teaching when I was there. And so, but a very long time ago, I heard a message from John Maxwell, Dr. John Maxwell. He's written many bestsellers, and he was a great teacher himself, and he is still a great teacher. He's probably one of the most well-respected leadership experts in the world, I think. And so I respect John Maxwell a lot as well, and I've read many of his books, and I think he's a great example. But I heard him give a talk to teachers. This is decades ago. I must have been maybe, I don't know, late high school or maybe like early college or something like that. But he talked about the three things that he knows about people. And the first thing that he said he knows about people is that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's the thing that I want to focus on today. Now, the two other things that he talked about were that everybody needs somebody and everybody wants to be somebody. And I'm not going to go into those, but I just want to focus on that first one because this is so important. This is the most important thing, I think, in teaching. Okay. And whether you're teaching a class of 25 or 30 kids, or you're teaching students one-on-one like I do, it doesn't matter. I think the heart is the most important thing. Now, what did John Maxwell say? The first thing, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. The number one most important skill a teacher can have is to care for his or her students. If you're a teacher and you don't sincerely care for your students, if you don't, I would even say love, if you don't love your students with your heart, if you don't care for them, then you can't be a true teacher. You're not going to be looking out for their best interest. You're going to be looking at your students as dollar signs instead of people whom you can mentor and care for and perhaps influence in a positive way. And that really should be what a teacher does. It's not just teaching the subject matter. You could be a history teacher, a math teacher, a science teacher. It doesn't matter, a psychology teacher or an SAT teacher like I am. It doesn't matter what you teach. You could be a martial arts instructor. You can be a ballet dance instructor. It doesn't matter what you teach, but the heart with which you teach, I think, is the most important thing. If you sincerely don't care for, if you don't love your students, then you're just going there and you're just doing a job to get paid and then go home when it's time to go home. And I think that when a teacher does that, he or she lacks passion. And if someone lacks passion in what they do, then I really wonder, why are you doing that? I mean, it's no different than, a robot, a machine that just, just doing the things that it's supposed to do on the assembly line. I mean, the thing that differentiates us from machines, one of the things is that we have emotions and we can sincerely care. Machines can't care, but we can care. And let me tell you something, the teachers in my life whom I remember in my mind as the most influential, as the most admirable, and the most respectable people whom I have ever met in my life are all people who cared about me. Okay. And so I remember those people, whether they were my third grade teacher or my high school teacher. Those people I never forget. And they're not just teachers, they're mentors and they're bosses and they're friends and people who sincerely cared about me, who looked out for my best interest. Those people, even decades later, I think back and still I'm grateful for those people. And I'm sure and I'm positive that my students are the same way, that when they look back and they think, Mr. Kim, he really cared about me. And if they know that, if they think that, I think I'll leave a lasting positive impression. And that is always my goal as a teacher. But I learned this a long time ago, and I have always made it. I'm not perfect, but I've always made it a point. I've always made it my number one goal to be a teacher who cares, to be a teacher who loves his students. Again, I am not perfect. Some students annoy me, and sometimes I'm like, man, when is this kid going to be done with me? But in the end, in my heart, I still want to look out for their best interests. Sometimes I will tell them things that they don't want to hear. But the thing is, in my heart, I think the vast majority of my students know that I care about them. And that is so important to me, that they know that I care about them. So the number one most important skill a teacher can have is not a master's degree, it's not a PhD degree, it's not how articulate you are, and it is not how smooth you are in your communication, in your delivery. It is not a great personality. It is not patience. All those things could be important, and some of those are very important. And those are not to be ignored. But they are not to be taken a position higher than your care and your love for your students. That is the most important thing. And once you get through to a student, once you build trust with that student, and trust goes both ways, then you can really reach that student. But the only way that happens is if the student knows that you care. And if the student knows that you don't care, and the student knows that you're just doing because it's your job, then they'll never open up. If they never open up, they won't listen to all the wonderful things you have to tell them. They will not learn all the wonderful things that you have to teach them. So the most effective teacher you can be is to be a teacher who sincerely cares and whose students know that you care. Because once that happens, all the wonderful things, all the wonderful knowledge you have, you can share that and they will take it in. And so I encourage you, if you're a teacher out there, to always remember that. And like me, let's make it a goal together to always, every student we teach, do we care for them? Do we love them with our hearts? And if we can teach like that, I think we'll be much better teachers, much better people. And so thanks for watching this video. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.